So I'm not planning on monitoring devotees coming into the meeting. I might, but you can kind of tell if somebody has a non-devotee name, then we probably don't want them. Hare Krishna, can you hear me okay? Anuradha, can you hear me? I don't know. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Danut Pranam.
Thank you, Pranav.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Hare
I'm
Krishna.
joining in from Dubai.
Dubai, wow.
Yeah, Prabhu. I'm constantly following all your classes and the Facebook posts, and really a big ardent, I would say, follower of Srila Govinda Maharaj and his teachings. It's
But
a
then
very
you have to bless me, because I hope I can also become an ardent follower too.
no, no, Prabhu. No.
Okay, so thank you very much, Pranav Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And I want to thank everybody very much for taking part tonight. Anuradha says she can't hear me, but we can hear each other. Just 1 minute here. One second. So we just like to offer our humble pranams to our revered spiritual master before we begin. Gauragraganya gana gocha goloruhadam Gauranga gudatama gopyada kopa briksham Gopala gada ratidam yati singha gora Govinda deshikavaram satatam namami. Nalini's just writing and saying, asking what the prayer we're saying means. It's a pranam mantra which Hari Parsha Prabhu compiled in Sanskrit, and it's been praised by many Sanskrit scholars and Vaishnavas and devotees who know our Guru Maharaj. I like it very, very much. It's something that actually we wrote together, although he did all the Sanskrit writing, but the conception, a lot of it comes from myself. To the brilliant garland around the neck of the League of Prominent Associates of Lord Gour, to the desired tree bestowing the topmost secrets of Lord Gauranga, to the giver of condensed love for Gopal, to the lion-like sannyasi, Gour Govinda Swami, the eminent spiritual teacher, I constantly offer my obeisances. So I want to thank everybody again for taking part tonight in this second session. We had a really brilliant session in the morning. And if you like, you can see that on YouTube. Maybe someone can post in a link here in our chat, our Zoom chat for that thing. Anuradha, I don't know what to tell you. Can you hear me? Yes, no? It's just connecting to audio. So I think maybe it's working. So this morning we heard something from His Holiness Parthasarathi Maharaj and from Sachinanda Maharaj. And we had a long talk with our godbrother Tapasri Maharaj. And we also watched a few videos of our Guru Maharaj speaking about the madness of Krishna. And we read some things from his book, When Good Fortune Arises. So tonight we'll have also some short video. I want to start with from Guru Maharaj, from a little video some of the devotees in Pattamanda have been putting together. I hope this is one of theirs. I think it is. Our Guru Maharaj speaking about why Srila Prabhupada used the phrase Krishna consciousness. And after each different talk, after each different video, I want to invite the devotees who are on here to take part if you have any reflections. A reflection can just be, wow, I really liked that particular point. It really hit home in my heart. If you have any reflections or if you have any questions, and I'll kind of monitor that. I'm not planning on those things going for too long. We'll also hear some video offering tonight from Radhesham Prabhu, the temple president in Pune, very famous scholar and preacher. And then tonight we're going to hear something from a special devotee from Juhu, as Devaki Nandan Prabhu, who has been the vice president in Juhu for many, many years. Our Guru Maharaj used to, whenever he would go to America, he would fly through Bombay at that time, and he would always go to the Juhu temple, and he had a lot of exchanges with Devaki Nandan, so he's going to share that with us tonight. So I would like now to go to this video of our Guru Maharaj. Just give me 1 second for this. Great. Looks like it's working for me.
Without that love, nobody can approach Krishna. Nobody can get Krishna. And Krishna, one who gets that prema, Krishna becomes submitted to it. You understand? Krishna becomes submitted to it. One who gets that prema. So, in order to give that prema, that Krishna came in the form of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Nama Prema Purushottama Nama Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Gour Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami offers this pranam mantra for Gaur. Mahavadanyaya is most munificent and God. Why? Krishna Prema Pradayate. He gives Krishna Prema. Nobody gives Krishna Prema. You understand? In Krishna, in his Swarup when he comes, he never gives. He never gives. He keeps it hidden. Very, very secret. You understand? But when he comes, the form of Gauranga, all the chests are opened and distributed really. Namo Mahapadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayati Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Gaura Krishna. That Gaura, I pay attention. That Gaura is Mahapadanya, most munificent goddess who gives Krishna Prema. You understand? He becomes bound up with that Prema. When he gets that Prema, Krishna becomes submitted to him. You understand? Bhakta Vasa. Therefore, he came as Gaura, and to give that Prema with which he becomes bound up. Understand me? Therefore, Maharaj, Prema Purushottama. Such Premi Bhaktas, those who have gotten that Prema, pure Prema, such Premi Bhaktas have bound up Krishna in their heart. You understand? They have bound up Krishna in their heart with that rope of love. Yes. And they say Krishna everywhere. They say, oh beautiful Shyam Sundar with deen and without, in their heart as well as outside. Bhakto ama premi mandyase hrudayo vitore bhakto yahan netro poreta dekho amare yahan netro poreta. It's Krishna's own words. That time Bhakta has bound me in his heart with the rope of love. Wherever he looks, he sees me. This is Pramandana Suita Bhakti Vilosanena Santa Sadi Bahude Subilokayanti Yosyama Sundaranga Chintya Guna Sarupu Govinda Adi Gurutam. This is Prama. His eyes, the eyes of the Premi Bhakta are anointed with the ointment of love. Huh? Wherever he looks, he sees beautiful Paramahansa Sundar. Huh? This is complete Krishna consciousness. So in Gita, Krishna said that, Jaman Pasyavi Sarvatra, Sarvam Tamai Pasyasi, Tasya na Panasyami, Sasame na Panasyasi. This is complete Krishna consciousness. One sees me everywhere and sees everything in me. He is not out of my sight, I am not out of his sight. Huh? This is complete Krishna consciousness. This is the, what is it, Prema. Huh? One was not gotten Prema, how can he see Krishna everywhere? Huh? So, that Krishna came as Gour to give that Prema. You get that Prema and bind me. Get me. See me everywhere. That was complete Krishna. That Krishna's desire. Huh? Isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. That's Krishna's desire. So he came as Gour to give that Prema. Get that Prema. Bind me. Huh? Get me. Huh? See me everywhere. So, it's complete Krishna consciousness. And this is society, international society for Krishna consciousness. Huh? The founder Acharya named this society as Krishna consciousness. Why? This purpose is here. Huh? Why then? No other consciousness? Why? He might have given God consciousness, Lord consciousness, huh? Or any other consciousness. Why particularly get this name, Krishna consciousness? Huh? What is the purpose behind it? Huh? Try to understand it. Without that love, you cannot develop complete Krishna consciousness. You cannot see Krishna everywhere. You cannot see Krishna within and without. So that Krishna came as Gauranga to give that prema.
So I want to thank everybody very much for taking part. I notice David Kinanda Prabhu is here. Nice to see you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for coming. And we're looking forward to hearing something from you. And also Ujjwala Resiga is here, Natalia. I saw Anuradha a little earlier. If anybody has any reflections or comments, I appreciate it. I'd like to offer a little reflection on what Gour Maharaj was just saying. He was speaking about the importance of, and the reason why Srila Prabhupada called it the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And he was saying that Krishna consciousness means Krishna Prem. It means having that thing. Of course, there's different understandings of what that may mean, but this was his point. Sometimes he used to say, what is the meaning of ISKCON? And devotees would say, oh, it's the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And then he would say, who's a member? And he answered his own question. He said, anyone, that person is Krishna conscious. And then once in front of everybody, he pointed at me and said, Madhavananda, not yet joined. So Gour Maharaj stressed this so very, very much. I remember in 1994, Rasikananda Prabhu and myself were traveling in America, and we had some idea to get things ready for Gour Maharaj's visit to America. And at that time, it was just starting, devotees started giving seminars and speaking on certain topics. Now it's a very common thing, but at that time it was uncommon. More, they would just give Bhagavatam and Gita classes, and you might announce that such and such Swami is coming. So we had some idea that we could advertise his talks and advertise certain topics, like we knew that he'd like to speak about how the Bhagavatam is full of Krishna Prem, and things about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Jagannath Puri and Srimati Radharani and like that. And so we sent him a fax. This is before email. And we wanted to make it easy for him. So I gave a list of possible topics that I knew he'd like to speak about and the suggestion. And he wrote us back a very short facts. And in the facts, he said, it's not necessary. He said, I speak according to the devotees who were there at the time. And he said, in any way, I only speak on one topic, and that's Krishna Prem. So that was very, very much his focus. And I heard from Radhanath Maharaj and different devotees who were present in one GBC meeting. They were speaking about what are the qualifications of Guru. And different devotees were saying different things, that he should be a devotee for so many years, that he shouldn't have fallen down, that he should be a disciple in good standing, and things like that. And Gour Maharaj, he said he gives Krishna Prem. And they didn't want to write that down on the board. It seemed too impractical. And Gour Maharaj chastised him, no, you must give that thing. So I just want to invite anybody else, if there's any other reflections on that little video that we saw. If not, I'm going to go ahead and play something else. It's an offering that we got from Radhe Shyam Prabhu in Pune. Ujjwala Rasika?
Yes, pranams to you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Yes, Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yeah, I can. Let me just say a word or two about you. For those who don't know, you're famous, but maybe not that famous. This is Ujjwala Rasika. She's a doctor. She's at work right now. That's why she has that white jacket on. And she's in North Carolina. And she's a wonderful devotee who has a lot of devotion to Gour Maharaj, and has been kind to give us her association some over the years. So what did that make you think about, that talk?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Pranams to you, Prabhuji, and to all the devotees. Yeah. This clipping that was played, I actually listen to this almost every day. Every day, Prabhuji, because when I was struggling to find out what real bhakti is, and when I was searching for why am I not feeling that in Atma Suprasidati that Bhagavatam is saying, I'm doing outside, but why is it that's not I'm feeling inside? That's when I heard this katha from Maharaj. I'm like, wait a minute. So since then, I play this, I hear this every day because, Prabhuji, the reason is Gauranga Mahaprabhu came here to give Krishna Prema. Srila Narottama is also saying that, Golokera Prema Dena Harinama Sankirtana. And from this recording, I actually see that I could connect the dots when Maharaj was saying, this is Krishna Prema. Krishna couldn't give. That's why Gauranga Mahaprabhu gave. And in the other lectures, he was saying to receive that what Gauranga is giving, you should have a golden pot. A mud pot is not enough. You should have a golden pot to contain that lion's milk. So that lion's milk, and then Maharaj says how Gauranga Mahaprabhu, how that lion's pot is actually Trinadapi Sunichena. And in the other lecture, Maharaj points out, if you are always Sutamita Ramaniya Chinta, where is the place for Krishna? Krishna should be on the platform of love. So all these dots put together, it just made the whole thing so simple for a beginner like me. And Maharaj also emphasizes on simplicity is Vaishnavism. You should have faith. Listen to the Guru Shastra, not to your mind. So just these few things from Maharaj Vani just made things so a little more clear to me, and whatever I was feeling inside, the knot that Srimad Bhagavatam says, I felt like that the knot was loosened and cut off with all this information that Maharaj was pointing out in his lecture. And that's why this particular thing, and three other lectures too. What to say, Prabhuji? You're saying in each lecture, Maharaj's focus is Krishna Prema only. So I am just unable to say 2 or 3 lectures. Any time Maharaj talks, it's all about and around Krishna Prema. Wow. So that is something very filling to the heart. And I feel like the very purpose of me being in ISKCON is being given here. So I'm just grateful that Srila Prabhupada has sent Gaur Govinda Maharaj to give this message loud and clear. Very grateful.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing it. I really appreciate that. We have to have some inspiration. We have to have some hope for something higher. Otherwise, what is this society? There's so many different groups in the world, religious groups who are making buildings and selling books and doing different things. If we don't have some deeper vision, I think he'll be very happy to hear your reflections. Thank you, Ujjvala. Okay, if anybody else has anything, I'll go ahead and I can hear from you. Anuradha, are you there, or anybody else? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and go to the second video. And for those of you who don't know him, Radhesham Prabhu, he's the temple president in Pune.
Can I say something?
Yes. Just a second here.
I wrote down my
Gornitai Prabhu.
Hare Krishna for everyone. So
Can you show yourself?
Yeah. Sorry.
No problem. Gornitai Prabhu, by the way, he's ringing in from Hungary, from New Brajadam. You there now?
Yes, I mean,
it looks like. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. So I hear many classes from elevated devotees, and but it's really different when I hear this video. His Holiness Gour Govinda Maharaj. His mood, I can feel this mood. His voice is very, very special. I don't say it's high transcendental or something. What I feel is very special. His enthusiasm, his strong faith put me on a different level. He's just, overflowing me. It's very quick what he says, yes, very clear and very simple. So I can hear that his sound is coming from a different world. It's not an ordinary person can speak like that. He's very strong, he's very stable. He's not the actor who is having some kingly role and he wants to convince everyone. No, he's speaking from his heart. That I feel. And because anyone can share whatever they have, I'm sure that he has this Krishna prema. When we speak something about which we are not really realized, we speak a little bit in different mood, a little bit more cautious, What I say maybe some mistake, but no, he's so strongly saying every word is exactly what is, and that's convincing me. Yeah, that is our society. We have to go for that. Whatever is it, I don't know. That's it.
That's a very nice comment. Thank you, Gornitai Prabhu. It reminds me of a comment that a senior devotee once made after hearing Guru Maharaj speak for the first time. He said, either Gour Govinda Maharaj is a Mahabhagavat or he's the biggest cheater we've ever met. It's one or the other. There's no in between. So, okay. Thank you very much, Gornitai Prabhu. I hope you're okay. Good to see you. Let's see. So let's go on to Radhesham Prabhu from Pune, who's kind enough to make some presentation. This is about 10 minutes. And I'll have to share this. Just one second.
Hare Krishna. From whom I derived a tremendous inspiration. I would like to say about the first and foremost admiration I have for Srimad Govinda Maharaj is because of this one thing which I'm going to say now. You see, there is a famous verse, Krishna Bhakti Rasabhavidamati Kretam Api Lapyate Tatra Laulyam Api Ekala Mulyam Janma Koti Simritina Lapyate. Wherever there is Krishna Bhavidamati, any person whose mati is completely absorbed in Krishna, is like soaked like a sponge in water. One should actually hanker and chase after that person for getting a few droplets of Krishna Bhakti Rasa. So taking this verse, Prabhupada made the whole organization ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So for many years I have been reading Srila Prabhupada's books and purports, and also hearing various lectures. One time I suddenly stumbled across one of the Krishna Kathamrita magazine, where I read an article on Mathura Meets Vrindavan for the first time. This was the Govinda Maharaja was explaining about Uddhava visiting Vrindavan and how he spoke to Nanda Baba, and Nanda Baba responding back to him. Very funny, humorous on one hand, because every word that Uddhava speaks, and Nanda counteracts. Uddhava is telling Nanda Baba that, why are you inside the palace? If you go out, you will not be too much feeling separation from your son. He says, if I go out, the cuckoo's cooing is like Krishna's calling. Wherever I go in the foot of Govinda and in the bank of Yamuna, I see Krishna's footprints. In this way, every question Uddhava is presenting, Nanda Baba is answering. When Uddhava tries to explain to him that your son is not your son, he is Bhagavan. That was such a heart-melting dialogue between Nanda Baba and Uddhava. That was my first dialogue I read, and I was completely sold out. What is Vrindavan Ras, Prajaras? I could
Can't hear anything. Madhavanand Prabhu, can you hear?
Can't hear, Prabhuji.
We can't hear anything. Madhavanand Prabhu, can you hear?
like the Shukadeva Swami says,
Sorry about that.
Brahma is the servant of Krishna, Shiva is the friend of Krishna, and Lakshmi is Ardhangini, half of the body of the Lord. Still, none of them got as much mercy as what Yashoda got. Like the Shukadeva Swami says, and Maharaja really thoroughly did justice to this statement by explaining about the Yashoda Krishna love, mother and child, Vatsalya Bhava. Actually, something happened in my heart, some feelings aroused for strength canto pastimes of Krishna and Yashoda. That is only after I got in touch with these pastimes of his own Govinda Maharaja's explanation. Actually, regarding Chaitanya Leela, once when I had gone in 1993 to Mayapur Dham, there I heard from my spiritual master and His Holiness, my spiritual master is Rajnath Maharaj and His Holiness Jayabadka Maharaj. They both would chant Gauranga, Gauranga, Nityananda, Nityananda. There was a time I developed attraction for Gaur Nitai and their mercy. And many years after that, when I came across this Krishna Kathamrita magazine and I read Chaitanya Gauranga Maharaj's articles, the Vrindavan Trust really became very prominent in my heart. And I started hankering for more and more droplets of that honey. And then I came across Maharaja's articles on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing in front of that cart. How it is a, Utralamba Dham, Jagannath Puri. Radharani is crying for Krishna, which is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Krishna is ecstatic, seeing Radharani dancing in the front. There is Jagannath. How both are in ecstatic mood, both are weeping tears. So beautifully, the way he narrates, and then why Lord Chaitanya had golden complexion, because it's Madanokya Mahabhav. It's a pranaya, sneha, raga, anuraga, bhava, mahabhav, and Madanokya Mahabhav. So anyone who is having that state of consciousness externally will manifest golden complexion. Just like somebody is angry, their eyes may become bloodshot. Somebody is experiencing the deep amount of love for Krishna, then they manifest the golden complexion. I never knew these things. When I read Maharaja's articles, not only he gives fine details of such explanations, he continuously pours down the ecstatic feelings that exist in the heart of the devotees in Chaitanya Lila, Krishna Lila. So I would I would take these books, read them over and over again, underline them, and different colors I would underline them, and write some remarks on the sides of the book. Also keep repeatedly watching them, take them to my lectures and speak lectures based on them. I'm extremely thankful to Maharaja, especially for this one gift in my life, because I feel in Krishna consciousness, the external achievements one may do, building a temple or holding a post or having some fame and name amongst a group of people in this world, or ability to memorize shlokas and repeat. So these are also superficial. They will all perish with the body. That none of them are going to carry with us. But one thing that will stay with us is the relish for Krishna and Krishna's pastimes. I would say, therefore, Swami Maharaja is giving the greatest gift to the world, because many of us, we study the basic philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and go and speak lectures. We may repeat the pastimes, but it is very much important for us to, enter into these pastimes with our heart and enter into the spirit of the characters and appreciate the characters and feel what the characters of Bhagavatam and CC are feeling in their heart and feel it oneself. And then we can experience Krishna consciousness. So I would precisely say Swami Gour Maharaj is giving us that spiritual experience through his honey-laden lectures. Even after his attaining Vaikuntha, still the world is benefiting from his videos, from his writings, and we can easily sense what kind of ecstasy he is feeling while explaining these pastimes, because he explains in a very simple language and like teaching a child. So the presentation is very elementary and simple, the way he speaks. Anybody can understand. It's like a dialogue kind of thing. He asks questions in between. He will challenge in between, and he will bring out his ecstasy, sarcastic remarks made by Yashoda, Krishna, everything. So I have no words to put my heart here, but I can only say that honestly I can touch my heart and say I immensely benefited from Maharaja's association. Apart from that, I have heard about his personality of being a person of high character and standard. I heard that in his life, he had said, one devotee told me that he released semen only 7 times to beget 7 children. Otherwise, unnecessarily, he would never waste it, and he remained a very first-class householder, even when he was a householder before meeting Srila Prabhupada. And also, when Prabhupada initiated him and sent him to Bhubaneswar, I heard about the early day struggles. It was empty land, and he put a hut there and stayed there in the midst of a lot of mosquitoes and everything, because it's Guru's order. From that time he developed. Now we see a beautiful temple in Bhubaneswar with so many devotees, such nice worship and nice festivals and everything. So I appreciate Maharaja's dedication to his Guru's order. And also he has instituted a very strict discipline for sadhus in general, and especially brahmacharis. I have seen some of his videos in Pune. We hear some of his video lectures, how when he answers the questions of sadhus and brahmacharis, how rigidly they should follow the vows that they have accepted without compromise, and how his lectures are very sharp, like a sword that cuts the illusion to pieces. You can say that, isn't it? So in that sense, his bold preaching of Gauravani without any dilution is something to be appreciated. That means, the truth he presents as it is. He doesn't bother about who will say what about it, which is very necessary, because we are living in the times of new age lifestyle where we are always very sensitive to other people. We don't know how much to speak and what to speak. Can we give it now or can we give it later? Don't put that tilak, keep the kantimala inside. People talk so many things nowadays. But in such a day and age, I have seen in Maharaj lecture many foreigners coming and sitting and hearing and asking questions, and Maharaj giving bold answers. So this is very much needed in this times when people are becoming more weak in spiritual life and more diluted, more deviated. In this way, our bhakti movement will get destroyed if we don't have leaders like His Honorable Gaur Maharaj who can present the truth without compromise. So I really appreciate his bold preaching of Chaitanya's Vani. And I also heard about his divine disappearance in Mayapur Dham when he had gone for the GBC meeting. All the GBC saw him coming for the meeting that time and they requested him, Maharaj, you are amongst us. You would like to hear Jagannath Katha from you. So Maharaj was speaking Jagannath Katha and his voice became choked and he couldn't speak any further due to the ecstasy he felt in Lord's pastimes. And he told everybody to do Kirtan. And they were doing a loud Kirtan in the midst of the Harinam, loud Harinam Sankirtan. Maharaj ascended to spiritual world. So what a sublime pastime it is. You can see how he always lived in remembrance of Krishna. And Krishna took him back to his abode at a time when he was describing the glories of Krishna and hearing the holy names of Krishna. So I feel very blessed for this opportunity to remember Maharaja's sublime Vaishnava characteristics and qualities. And I fall at his lotus feet and I beg for a drop of his blessings. Maharaj is in his Swarupa in the spiritual world, assisting Srila Prabhupada and Krishna in Telila. And he is glancing with a spiritual glance from there towards all of us. And I beg him that please give me a drop of that Krishna Bhakti Rasabhavita Mati that you have. Please give me a drop of the sincerity and the devotion and the boldness and the ecstatic laughter that you carry with you always, so that we can also experience the sweetness of devotion that you experienced and be able to distribute it to some extent in this world. Thank you. This one is Govinda Swami Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
That was the first time I got to hear that. He sent it to me a couple of days ago, but I'm very, very wonderful. I'm very happy to see that he was speaking so much about Guru Maharaj's teachings. He mentioned how Guru Maharaj gave devotees hope that sadhu is present. Guru Maharaj sometimes used to say that there's proof that there's a sadhu present. The proof is that the sun is shining. The proof is that the moon is there. The proof is this world is here. And I always thought that's nice. And then some years later, I read in Padma Purana a verse which Krishna speaks to Arjuna. Sangsara Vaishnavadino, Deva Vaishnava Palita, Ham Cha Vaishnavadina, Tasmat Shreshtas Cha Vaishnava. That Krishna says to Arjuna that this whole material universe, Sangsara Vaishnavadino, it's all dependent on the presence of some pure Vaishnava. There has to be some pure Vaishnava here. Deva Vaishnava Palita, all the demigods, they wouldn't be able to exist. They're nourished by the presence of some pure Vaishnava. And then Krishna says, what to speak of all of them? Aham cha Vaishnavadinas. He says, I myself can't exist. Therefore, Tasmat Shreshtas cha Vaishnava. The Vaishnavas, they're the best of all personalities. I also was appreciating his comments about Radhisham Prabhu about how Guru Maharaj was preaching without compromise, such an important thing. And he stressed that to many of us. I remember one lecture he gave in a big temple in the West, where hundreds of devotees are present, and many, many senior devotees. And he said that Dambo Darpa Bhimanas Cha Kroda Paroshameva Cha, that this pride is a demoniac quality. And he said, when you came, you're very nice, you're very sincere. But after some time, you wanted to be a senior devotee. You wanted to be the temple commander, the temple president. He says, and after some time, you're telling everybody, don't you know who I am? I'm a temple president, Prabhupada disciple, Guru, GBC, demon. He spoke in such a heavy way like that. And that's something that he's very much known for. And he told me personally, he said, don't compromise. When you speak, don't compromise, speak boldly. On another occasion, I got in some trouble as a young devotee speaking something. And later I told him about it, and he said, you just speak boldly, don't compromise. And then I told him what I said. And he said, oh, you said that there? He said, you should not have done that. And then I could understand that it's not just that we should imitate. And I've seen over the years, many devotees wanted to imitate him and try to chastise devotees, try to chastise even senior devotees. But that wasn't at all his mood. His mood was always very respectful to senior devotees. And he always taught his disciples and followers to be the same. So I'd like to play another short video for you of Gour Marsh. And if any devotees have any reflections after this, we'd like to welcome that. This is another video that was done by the devotees in Patamandai. Very, very sweet video. They titled it, Why Krishna is Not Hearing Our Prayers. So I think that's a pretty relevant subject. Let me just turn that on. This is about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes.
If you understand Guru in love, understand in affection, love and affection, serve Guru, understand, immense strength you will get, immense strength. Guru Seva, Nam Seva, service to Guru and service to holy name, if you can do, you have immense strength. Understand this? To whom does Krishna listen? Huh? One says, oh Krishna, I don't want anything from you. Nandanam, nandanam, nansundarim gavitam. You understand? Huh? I don't want anything for me, for my pleasure, happiness, anything from you. You understand? What is your will? I am completely dependent on your will. What is your will? What do you want from me? Understand? Understand? I am completely dependent on your will. What is your will? If it is very, very difficult on my part to fulfill that will, understand? Your will. It's very, very difficult on my part. Still, I want that. That is my happiness. Fulfill your will. You understand? Huh? Krishna listens to you. Krishna listens to you. Huh? Listens to his prayers. Krishna is all of Jesus. There's nothing enough Jesus in it, nothing enough in it. Huh? But we cannot understand it. We are in bodily platform. We only want bodily comforts, enjoyment. What will be for our body very nice, huh? Comfortable, huh? Enjoy. That we want. Anything uncomfortable body, oh. Don't want it. Understand? Krishna will never listen to you.
So this was very much one of his subjects that he wanted to speak about. He, as I mentioned in our morning session, that Gour Maharaj was saying, told me once in New York City in 1994, in a private place. He said that there are three things that are very important to me. One is that I want to preach to the preachers. I feel great pain in my heart when I see the preachers falling down and going away. And the second is that I want to show that everything is in Prabhupada's books, and devotees don't have to, the devotees shouldn't think that Prabhupada didn't give everything. And the third thing is I want to show that everything is in ISKCON. Devakinanda Prabhu, I thought that you were going to start at 8 o'clock. Why don't you go ahead and start right now? I'm sorry that's the reason I didn't ask you earlier.
No, the time was given 7:30, between 7:30 to 8.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Please forgive me, I'm messing up. So I'd like to welcome Devakinanda Prabhu. For those of you who don't know him, he's been the vice president for many, many years in Juhu, and he's a great stalwart in our society. He's also working now in Jagannath Puri, although we haven't gotten to see him here very much. But I hope the next time you come that you'll give us your association here with Bhakti Rupa Prabhu and I. And as I mentioned before, he's been in Juhu for a long time, and whenever Gour Maharaj would go to America, he would stop in Mumbai, and he would go to the Juhu temple, and Devakinanda Prabhu had a good deal of association with him. So I'm sorry we're starting late for you, Prabhuji. Please go ahead. Please forgive me.
A small correction. I left vice presidentship in 1992. No, sorry, in 2002. Sorry.
You left Juhu in 2002.
No, I was the vice president from 84 till 2002. Then I became president. So, like, you are still in old age anyway. So,
I don't go there enough. I'm sorry.
Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Talaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Vanchakaltribhyacha Gribasindhavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, very auspicious day of appearance day of His Holiness Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj. Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj, I can say, was truly a great Vaishnava. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Brahm Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kanchati sama sarvesu bhutesu mad bhakti lavati param. He was on Brahma Bhuta platform, and he was always joyful. He enjoyed everything what he did. Even if he chastised somebody, he enjoyed that. And even, he praised somebody, he enjoyed that. I mean, everything he did. My association with Maharaj, first I met him in 1979. We were in traveling Sankirtan party, our leader of Bhavathi Prabhu, and we had the German bus. And I joined in 76 in Vrindavan. Then I have come to Mayapur in 78. And then, we were in traveling party. And that time, Maharaj was in Bhubaneswar. I had heard about Maharaj a little bit, not much those days. And I was longing to meet him. So that time, the construction has started of Bhubaneswar temple, I think, or maybe second time. First time I met him, I remember in 79. And then second time again I meet, that time more, he was translating and he was staying in unfinished room, this brick wall, and he had books. And, he really enjoyed reading what he was translating and telling that how Prabhupada asked him to do that. But of course, that was okay, out of respect, because he's sannyasi and all these things. But I did not have much close association that time. But when he started going to West, that time, whenever he came to Bombay, we had wonderful association of His Holiness Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj. I can say that Prabhupada has many gems, many diamonds. Prabhupada, created International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and he produced so many wonderful Vaishnava. Many of them were qualified for different activities for spreading Krishna consciousness. His Holiness Gour Govinda Maharaj, I can say, Prabhupada empowered him to nourish the devotee with Krishna Prem, give them real thing. That Mahaprabhu came, Krishna Prem Pradayate, to give the Krishna Prem. Of course, Krishna Prem had different meaning also. Even chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the beginning of Krishna Prem. So Prabhupada gave and he empowered devotee, and he empowered Gour Govinda Maharaj to nourish the devotee. We are going out and preaching and trying to make devotee, but what about our own self? But Gour Govinda Maharaj was one of the great Vaishnava who really nourished the devotee. Until today, he is nourishing the devotee. Raya Shyam Prabhu was reading, he was reading his offering, and he gave his offering, and he said that how he feels nourished even today. So anyone who hears his lecture, read his writings, just nourishment for devotee. And not only that, even association of his disciples, there's such a depth of Krishna consciousness. They are inward, not outward. And so whenever he came to Bombay, he stayed in one room number 406. Somehow or other he liked that room. So he stayed in that room. And Brajari Prabhu, myself, we used to go and meet, because Brajari was from Odisha, and I had position. I didn't end the qualification. So anyway, but he was very nice. From the first day only, we became friends. And not only that, he has such a great memory. Such a great memory. Brajari Prabhu introduced me, that who I am, in Jehu temple and so on and so forth. And then, yeah, I know Devkinandan, I know Devkinandan. We met. I have met him 5-6 years before, but still he remembers such sharp memory. And then he asked me one question. Who is Krishna? Who is Krishna? So I said, yes, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He said, if you know Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, why you are still in Maya? Okay. So now I realize what he was saying. He was saying that there are three kinds of knowledge: acquired knowledge, then realized knowledge, and revealed knowledge. And that was acquired knowledge, that I am not this body, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. It was not realized knowledge. And what he was talking about, realized knowledge. That if you know Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, why you are still in Maya? So he spoke very strongly. But after speaking so strongly, he laughed so much that I did not know whether he was, upset with me, or, he was, what he was. But that he laughed, made me really surrender to him and be with him. He loved mango, Alfonso mango. Whenever he went to the West, we had mango party. And we got, because Bombay is famous for Alfonso mango, which is best mango in India. And we got mango. He loved mango. And then some Udiya devotees were there. We used to have feast. I loved Maharaj for this Udiya prasadam, At least we get, nice, feast with variety of sabji and this thing. And he was like lion guru. He spoke fearlessly. Everybody knows this thing. Without any fear, he spoke. He was always cordial to me, respectful and loving, affectionate to me. In Mayapur, during GBC meeting, always he used to stay with Bhakti Charu Maharaj. But I think that last year, the year he passed away, he stayed next door to Bhakti Charu Maharaj, in a friend room. So I went to meet him, and he was sitting, and he was just doing like this on his head. So something he told, which I don't want to speak here in public. something he told. And then I think that year only, in few days time, he left the body, from the planet. I can say surely that is a great loss for ISKCON. His departure, a great loss for ISKCON. We lost such a wonderful Vaishnava who really nourished us, who gave nourishment to us, and what we need more than anything else. Okay, we are going outside preaching everything, but if we don't have Krishna Prem, how can we give Krishna Prem to somebody else? If we don't have Krishna consciousness, how can we give Krishna consciousness to somebody else? So it's very much important that we give the nourishment. Otherwise, devotee will get dry, and after some time, they'll bloom. So that aspect of Maharaj, I really, really respect. That he was just there. He was drilling. He was speaking strongly so that it can go in heart of people directly, like Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. He said, I speak louder so I can hear, because my ear is blocked. And I speak louder so I can hear, and thus it will go to my heart. That was Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj used to say, because he also gave, powerful classes and very strong, like Gour Govinda Maharaj. But to Gour Govinda Maharaj, whenever he spoke, he spoke directly to one and all. One and all. He spoke directly. And one of the lecture I heard, and where he was saying that when we chant the holy name, if anybody has Krishna Prem, they must cry. The tears should flow from your eyes. You must cry. And if you cannot cry, then you cry that you cannot cry. Like that kind of statement, very profound statement he made. And whenever he spoke, again, I'm saying, everybody realized that Maharaj is speaking to me directly. And he spoke strongly, but later on, he laughed. Whenever he gave some message, he laughed. So people will not feel like frightened or something. But, he brought the devotees, whoever heard him, he was like honeybee or something, that everybody was surrounding him to hear. And so as whenever he led Kirtan, such a wonderful Vaishnava traditional Kirtan of Odisha, Odia Kirtan, so nice, so sweet Kirtan he will lead. And with a very grave or heavy voice, we couldn't even follow that kind of, the voice that he used to lead. But again, I will say this is all due to Maharaj purity. Maharaj was certainly pure, and he left the impression on the devotees, whoever is with Maharaj. I am very fortunate that now I'm the General Secretary for Central Orissa, where Bhubaneswar is also part of that. So I have an opportunity to come in Bhubaneswar and meet with devotees and associate, and hopefully in future we will get to hear more about Maharaj transcendental quality, and we will share more. Unfortunately, because of Madhavanand Prabhu, you requested me, so I couldn't say no. I am here in my village. My aunt passed away, and tomorrow is 13 days. A lot of relatives are here, and I'm supposed to give a lecture 8 o'clock at home for my relative. So I have to cut off here, and please forgive me. Next year, maybe some more when I associate with all of you there in Odisha. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Devakinandan Prabhu. I really appreciate it. I know you're very, very busy, and I feel terrible. I haven't been organizing this program very well this year. I'm sorry. We went over time, and you would schedule for 7:30. Thank you so much for taking part. You always speak in such a wonderful way. Thank you very much. I also like to welcome His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj, who just dropped in. I don't know if Maharaj, you'd like to say something tonight. Are you here? Or I wasn't real clear from our exchange if you wanted to speak something tonight or tomorrow.
Well, I got the impression that tomorrow your chock-a-block booked up.
Yes, tomorrow night. Yeah.
So then today is good.
That's great. So if I try to introduce you, I think I'll probably be hit by lightning or something because it'll be so bad. Everybody knows Jay Advaita Maharaj.
Nothing to say.
Thank you very much for coming tonight, Maharaj. I really appreciate it. Where are you at right now, if I can ask? Are you?
I'm in upstate New York.
Uh-huh. Nice to see you, and thank you so much for taking part tonight. I really appreciate it, Maharaj. So if you'd like to say a few things, I'd really appreciate it. And if there's a little time at the end that you want to give for discussion or for comments, reflections, questions, that's also really nice. I'd like to see some interactive things.
Okay. I wasn't planning to speak for very long, but I'll say a few things. Oma Jnana Timidandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadatikam Vancha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Yes, yes, Maji. It's easier to answer the door than to.
No problem.
Just
this stuff happens. Same thing happened this morning with Tapasvi Maharaj. He started speaking and somebody came and knocked on the door. He was by himself. He had to go and do that.
Thank you. The Govinda Maharaj was in an extraordinary category, if you can call it category. He was exalted. There are those of us who are new recruits, as it were, that Srila Prabhupada found scattered here and there and engaged and did wonderful things with. And then there's Gour Govinda Maharaj and his situation, naturally exalted and absorbed in Krishna consciousness in a way that is beyond what most of us can understand. We practice, we appreciate, we have some taste. Maybe my we is too broad because I don't want to include other devotees who are advanced in their own way. But at least from my own personal experience, I'm just trying to hang in there and do some service and make some spiritual progress. But Gour Govinda Maharaj was operating from the platform of natural absorption in devotional service. His way of life, his speaking, his discipline, his focus of attention, his dealings, his determination and philosophical, especially commitment to the siddhantas of Krishna consciousness. All of these things he had to an extraordinary extent. As Devaki Nandan Prabhu mentioned, his kirtan was not the kirtan of this world, the kirtan of the ordinary world. His kirtan was descending from the spiritual platform. His sort of a person that now that he's gone, we can think, what kind of person did we have with us? When he was here, we might think in some other way, something we agree with, something we disagree with, something we like, something we don't like, something we wonder about, something we grumble about. But in his absence, you look back and you say, how is it that such a person was with us, that such a devotee was with us? Looking back and reading what he's written, hearing what he said, remembering how he lived, we think such a Vaishnav is not so easily found. So that's really the essence of what I wanted to say. I could tell a couple of a story or two, perhaps. I can relate because I always have the picture of him in my mind at the GBC meeting. He's, in one sense, not the kind of person you think of as being a GBC member, because the GBC members we often think of as being involved in administrative duties. And we think of Gour Govinda Maharaj more as a sadhu than as an administrator. But I saw that when he would sit in the meeting, great attention. There are those who in the room who are not always so focused. Great attention, because this is Guru Maharaj's business. This is Srila Prabhupada's business. So great attention, listening. And then when he would speak from the platform of philosophy or of a principle. What are the principles that Prabhupada has taught us? What is our duty? Not just a scheme or an idea or an inspiration, but speaking from that platform of real depth. What is our duty? What is it that Prabhupada would expect from us? Speaking from that platform of duty, of responsibility, of sobriety. No question of personal interest, no question of low-level manipulation or strategizing, but of principle, of duty, of Krishna consciousness. So he brought that to everything, to his touring, to his speaking. What is my duty? And beyond duty, what is our goal? What is it that we're trying to achieve? Why did we join this mission? What is our purpose in life? What is our highest purpose in life? What is it that we want to find in our heart? What is it that we want to revive? That's our ultimate focus, and that was his ultimate focus, and what he wanted to give us also. And I'll stop here. I don't want to ramble.
Thank you very much.
My obeisances and stop.
Hare Krishna. You really gave us a lot of food for thought and food for heart. I really appreciate it. One little comment, reflection. I heard from some GBC members that one year there was one sannyasi, godbrother of yours, who now he's left ISKCON, he has his own mission, and he came to the GBC meeting in Mayapur, and he was very, very critical of the GBC. There was some scandals about him, some different things that were being said, and he came into the GBC room and he started chastising everyone and speaking very harshly to the GBC body. And many devotees, I find this story striking because many devotees have this vision about our Guru Maharaj that he was like a singer guru and lion, and he would chastise all those people, and we should do the same thing. Things like that also. But his response, Shiva Ram Maharaj told me that he turned to him and he said, he must be driven out. He must be kicked out. This is so offensive. He cannot speak like this. So just as you're saying, he has so much respect for the GBC body. And he spoke very strongly. He didn't compromise, and that's a fact. But he spoke in a way that he could speak to people who had faith in him. And if a small child tries to imitate a big father like that, it just doesn't have the same effect. And we see that sometimes. And I really appreciate your comments, Maharaj. You've been taking part for a number of years in these programs, and you always speak in such a very deep and thoughtful, heartfelt way. I want to thank you very much. Ujjwala Rasiga, she's commented too. Thank you so much, Jadwaita Maharaj, for these words you're speaking. If anybody else has any quick reflections, I think you have to go, Maharaj.
No, I can stay.
Okay. If there's anything else you'd like to say, if there's anybody who has any other reflections on Maharaj's comments, I very much liked that your comment that beyond duty, he spoke about what is our goal. And he was very, very much oriented for that. And that was something that he wanted. He stressed so much. And it's so easy for all, as we know, to become a little distracted. And the devotees, as you pointed out, they're still exalted personalities. They're doing great things to help this movement. But sometimes we forget what is our purpose, what is our goal. And he was very, very firmly fixed on that.
Yeah, therefore, he wanted to open not just a school, but a crying school.
Yeah.
Can I say something, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Pranams to you, His Holiness Jai Advaita Swami Maharaj. Maharaj, all those words coming out from you. I mean, I said something a while ago, but all these words are from a devotee who is trying to practice. You know? But when these words are coming out from you, Maharaj, I felt like whatever feelings that I have had and whatever words that I spoke out of my gratitude and experience and reciprocation, they're all now like validated and authenticated since such an advanced personality like you also has similar feelings. So that's why I'm especially thankful to you, Maharaj, because we may be speaking what we felt, what we understood, and how His Holiness Gour Govinda Maharaj has transformed us from within. And as the other devotee was saying, healing and nourishing what we need and what we need to feel and have before we actually give it to others. So that's why whatever that comes from His Holiness Gour Govinda Maharaj is so valuable because it is nourishing us individually. So this is all what all we feel as devotees, but coming from you, it's just, now you have an authenticated label. Yes, many of the advanced devotees do feel like that. So it's just very valuable. Thank you so much for your expression. Maharaj speaks of simplicity and Vaishnavism. Thank you.
She's wearing a white coat, Maharaj, because she's a doctor. So she's authorized to know what kind of medicine we need. She's appreciating.
I took permission and taking breaks in between because I wanted to be a part of this celebration. Very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Maji. I think so many of us would validate these understandings. So many of my god brothers, god sisters would validate these things.
Yeah. Okay, does anybody else have any reflections or comments? Ishwar Prabhu is here, older devotee, and who else is here right now? Brajabanita.
Yeah, I can add few words in my broken English.
Okay, can we see your smiling face? There we are. Brajabanita speaking from Israel. She's a disciple of Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. Very nice
Oh.
devotee.
Hare Krishna. I'm sorry from the beginning for my English. I'm not fortunate. I was not fortunate enough to meet Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj personally. I just met him through his books and through Madhavananda Guruji. And first impressions was, very deep sentiments. But as time passed and I go deeper and for his lectures and listening the memories about him and reading again and again his scriptures and listen to him and listen our acharyas, and I understand that actually that the treasure that his personality brought to us, I actually didn't meet from anyone in our holy society who gave such deep understanding of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mission, such deep realization of this, and such deep taste and rasa that he relishing so, how to say it, great. No, so largely. So, and if not him, I don't know if I will ever touch this difference. It's only through him. So, thank you.
Thank you, Brajabanita. I found that Guru Maharaj gave inspiration to a lot of devotees who had lost faith. And sometimes when someone has lost their faith and they get it back, they're on a mission from God, then they want to share that with everybody else. And not always does everybody else appreciate or understand that. And because of that, there was some miscommunication, some misunderstandings and things. But one thing that really struck me very deeply with him is that he was there. Prabhupada, he told us once, several times, that Prabhupada had told him that he should accept disciples. And Guru Maharaj protested. He said, but I don't want to be the head. I just want to be the tail. And Prabhupada said, I want you to be the head. And because Srila Prabhupada had told him that, he gave initiation. He accepted many people, like myself, who maybe no one else would have accepted. People who were troublemakers. I know that I have one godbrother, I won't say names, but he approached Tamal Krishna Maharaj and requested him, please, Maharaj, please accept me as your disciple. I don't have faith in anybody else. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj looked at him and said, you're a troublemaker. I'm not going to accept any more troublemakers. And he was a troublemaker, that particular devotee. And Maharaj wouldn't accept him, but our Guru Maharaj did. And I'm not trying to say that he's on some greater platform or than somebody else, but just the fact that because of Srila Prabhupada's order, he was very, very merciful. And he gave faith to people who didn't have faith. And he helped a lot of people who were, sometimes I think in our movement, I think Jayadvaita Maharaj, you probably could write a book about this. We have artists and intellectuals have a hard time sometimes in our society, at least the version that I've seen of our society over the last 20 years or so. But persons like that, our Guru Maharaj is there for. Do you have any other thoughts about that, Maharaj, you'd like to add?
Well, first of all, I think that's true. Certainly he was merciful to people of high caliber and lesser caliber. I was, since someone asked for a story, I can tell you one. It's a little related to what you said before about Prabhupada requesting him to initiate. He gave a lecture in San Diego, and he spoke about the qualifications of Guru, and he was very absolute about it. Basically you have to be this, and you have to be this, and you have to be this, and you have to be this. Then only can you be guru. Anybody who's not qualified should never, and so on, very. And after the lecture, we were walking. I said, Maharaj, you said all these things, and I don't think I could ever be guru. He said, no, Maharaj, you'll be a very good guru. Although every one of the qualifications that he'd spoken about practically was a qualification I didn't have, but still he said that. Excuse me 1 second, I have to pull out a plug. That's another thing. I think your Guru Maharaj was non-linear. Our Western mind tends to think in terms of a very linear way of thinking, A and therefore B and therefore C and therefore D. Whereas your Guru Maharaj and Prabhupada also, they could think in a different way. It's not just by cold logic and some yardsticks and measuring tape, but it's by a higher understanding. A high understanding of Krishna consciousness. And I saw that in your Guru Maharaj, that he wasn't operating just from a platform of like a legalistic argument, but he was operating from the platform of divine consciousness, of Krishna consciousness, which is a different thing. It doesn't play by the same rules that the courts and the government offices work by. It's a higher understanding.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that anecdote, Maharaj. Many times devotees, they sometimes we hear something from someone, even a few of the devotees, just now Ujjwala Rasiga was saying, oh, you Jayadvaita Maharaj, you said exactly what was in my heart. There's a certain symptom in psychiatry that when someone says something that we believe in, we like that person.
Oh, yeah.
We appreciate that.
He's the same.
And some people, they saw some things in my Guru Maharaj, that he was chastising people, that he was very strong, and that he spoke in a very high way about Guru, and as you were mentioning, an absolute way. But what they didn't see sometimes was behind the scenes and how he spoke about other personalities. I had the good fortune to see that on a number of occasions, and it made me think, which is a startling thing to do, but a very merciful thing. I have to think of how do I understand this? Even I remember once I was walking with him and going into the temple, and someone asked him a question, and he gave an answer. And then he gave a class. And after the class, someone in public asked him the exact same question, and he answered in a completely different way. and that made me think. So he was speaking in a certain way. He's told us that he wanted to give faith to the devotees. And he wanted the devotees to think that Guru is not just some casual thing. It's just not some ecclesiastical thing that I've been in ISKCON now for 1 year and I don't have a name. What's going on? I should get initiated, and this, give me a list of gurus and their pictures and whatever like that. But he was speaking how and of course, if we analyze what he said, when he's saying that we should have someone who's a Premi Bhakti, or as he would say, a Srup Shakti Krishna Pushta Parikar, an eternal associate of Krishna who has this potency. The next question comes, you raise your hand and say, excuse me, how do you tell that person? And then let's look at what he also said, and he spoke so many times, you can't tell who that person is. So then wait a minute. You just told us that we should look for this, but now you're telling us that we can't see it. We should listen to the whole picture. So my humble feeling is that he wanted to give the devotees faith, and he wanted to make them think deeper and look for something deeper. But what that deeper thing is, you're going to have to figure out yourself. You should look in Prabhupada's books. We should hear from Sadhu about that. But nobody can really tell you that. You're going to have to cry and depend on Krishna, and Krishna will reveal that. So thank you very much. I really like that comment about him being non-linear. And Ujjwala Rasiga said here too, true, I did not know much about Jayadvaita Swami before, But I'm seeing what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, simplicity is Vaishnavism. Yes, that's my humble experience with Jayadvaita Maharaj also. And he's also a very straight speaker. And for those of you, there's a few devotees here, it's a little bit of a private group who come on some of our parikramas. A lot of my parikrama style comes from Jayadvaita Maharaj because he chastised me. One of the first ones and told me, Madhavananda, I don't know if you remember Maharaj, he said, don't just be a storyteller, but you should have some reflections. And I think that also is kind of a reflection also of my Guru Maharaj. So that's very, he wasn't just a storyteller, but he was a thinker from the heart, in a position of the heart that I can't approach. Anyway. So thank you very much, Maharaj. Anybody else have anything? Maharaj, do you have anything further you want to add?
No, I don't think so for the moment.
Okay, so I would like...
Just one more thing is
yes,
that I have, one of the devotees I have so much admiration and regard for is Niranjan Maharaj. And Niranjan Maharaj has so much regard and admiration for Srila Guru Govinda Maharaj. So your Guru Maharaj is admired by those whom I admire. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, also I remember him coming out from a lecture that Maharaj had given in Mayapur. And he was just so, as he was coming out of the temple, he was so, well, in this kind of we'd say ecstatic about it, but he was, what can I say? He was just so impressed and inspired by what he'd heard. That's so much appreciating what he'd heard from Gour Govinda Maharaj, and appreciating again that this was coming from another level of Krishna consciousness. So your Guru Maharaj was admired by those whom I most admire.
I'm also a great fan of, a great appreciator, I don't like the word fan so much, of Niranjan Maharaj. He's very, very special and very, very simple Vaishnav. And I've learned so much from him and also from you, Maharaj. At one point in my life, honestly, I can just say something honest in front of everybody. I had a bit of a crisis, especially after Guru Maharaj left, and I didn't really have anybody in ISKCON that I had so much faith in. But somehow I stuck it out on my Guru Maharaj's order. And now I have so many friends and so many well-wishers and persons that I appreciate. Wow, that's really deep. What they're saying. Niranjan Maharaj is one of those, and you're also one of them. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking part tonight. I want to play just a very short video. We're going to go ahead and stop here. This is another one of those videos which was put together by the devotees in Pattamandai. And they took this from a audio lecture, and they put some pictures, and you'll see cows and things. This is all in Pattamandai. And the Radha Krishna deities, by the way, are Sri Sri Radha Madhav, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's original deities who are being worshipped there right now. So they call this, whoops, this is the wrong one. Let's see here. They call this a mood of humility.
You see, if that pride inside you, don't express it, always fill your soul with love or humble, with pridelessness. This purpose, that purpose, this purpose, this purpose. That's danger. Pranada Vishnusa. Then you get the real mercy of Krishna. Because so dear to Krishna. I say it is very dear, very intimate. If Radharani is that anybody dearer to Radharani? To Krishna? Radharani is the dearest. Nobody is. He must be other than Radharani. So Radharani says, I have no prema with Krishna. I am crying for that prema. I am his Dina Dasi, very low made servant of Krishna. Radharani says like that. Why you feel so pride? You may say that, but think yourself like this. So down-headed fellow. This is the mood. This is your own feeling. You understand? You may say, yes, God, Krishna gives us this, this, this. Yes, that's preaching. And how the people will attract it. But your mood is like this.
Prabhupada explained the behavior of the devotee is never, devotee never agitated in any circumstance. So, for example, we are not devotee, but still we try to follow the path by just following instruction of spiritual master.
Yes.
To trade a part of devotional service. So if we sometimes struggling, Maya, like this, so what should we, in which behavior should we adopt? If we become, attacked by Maya, we should be just
Exalt of Maya, this the master of Maya, so it's your protection.
but still
Manu de prapadyante Maya me tantaranti de. Manu surrender unto me. Krishna says, then he conquers Maya. So, Mahaprabhu says, don't be afraid. I am with you. I've given you this unfailing weapon. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Remember these words of Mahaprabhu, Krishna. Then don't be afraid. That two verses. Even most trial, most awkward situation, you will never become sincere. Yes. Yes. Why? You understand? Yes. Completely surrender unto Krishna. And Krishna has promised. Jani Nami Bhakta Pranasa, he has promised. Yeah, true Arjuna. I give protection to devotee. My devotee never perished.
one way is not devotee. Can't promise to be devotee.
Yes, that is our humility. I have no devotion, I am not a devotee. Completely. Yes. All nasty things within me, ancestors, 60% have committed so. There is no such sin in the world that I have not committed. Still, you are my love. Still, you are my love. You see, to me, Amar Naam. Still, you are my love.
Hare Krishna. Some similar things that Jai Advaita Maharaj was speaking about the importance of humility and genuine humility. So I want to thank everybody very much for taking part tonight. I'm sorry our program's a little bit short this evening. We'll have another session tomorrow morning for those of you who can take part. And that'll be Indian time from 8:30 to 11:30, and then again tomorrow night. And tomorrow night we have a number of special speakers. Jai Pataka Maharaj will be speaking, and Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj. Tomorrow morning, our time Giriraj Maharaj will also be here, and Brajahari Prabhu, the temple president from Mumbai. So for me, sometimes devotees, when we do something, when we see someone doing something, it's always, we're kind of wondering, why are they doing this? And it's nice to just come forward and state very clearly, I do this because I like to hear from Jai Dwaita Maharaj, and I like to hear from Giriraj Maharaj and different devotees, because I get to meet someone again, somebody that I thought I really knew, but all of a sudden I'm seeing it from a different perspective. And it's not so linear. And it's very, very inspiring. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Srimad Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj Gurudeva Ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nanda Kori Vaishnavendra Ki Jai.
Jai.